Good morning, Josselyne Herman-Saccio. My name is Nick V from the Baka Boyz. We've spoke before together, and we've seen each other in Mexico City. We've seen each
Yeah,
other.
Mexico City. That's right. Are you going to be in Colombia this year?
We have to start the festivities off with the DJ Nick V. Yes, Successful Living Summit. I've been a part of it since 2016, and it's grown worldwide now. For those who do not know what this is from scratch, talk about it. What is Successful Living Summit, and who do you think it is for?
Well, it's an amazing conference, really, of leaders, of people who want to make a difference in the world, in their community, in their families, and they converge in this, World Cup of transformation.
Yeah.
And they're joined by keynote speakers like myself and other people that are, there to empower them to make the difference they were born to make, and they do workshops and exercises to develop themselves as people who can lead and impact the world at whatever level they're committed to playing at.
Yeah, we're talking about the SLSworldcup.com. Go to it right now to find out more. Like I said, I've been a part of it in inception, early ages, in early stages. That's why I'm like kind of grandfathered in as the DJ. So whatever city or whatever country that we go to, I'm the opening DJ. So first and foremost, the energy when you walk into the building, we're partying. Everybody has their flags from around the world, and we're dancing. Number one, we're getting all the energy out. Then Josselyne would join us, and the other keynote speakers would join us. But can you talk to me about the energy in the room and what people feel when they walk
It's
in?
electric. I mean, you walk in and it's like you feel like you're levitating because it's not just energy. I mean, you can go to a nightclub and get energy.
Right.
It's like a positive energy that is out to do good, which is a very unique kind of energy that can really heal the world, and the world could use some healing right about now.
Absolutely. It starts with one person. I want to ask you this. What makes the program different than the others, do you think? Because, I've been through it. And for those who've ever been to like a self-help or any kind of like helping yourself get to the next level, one of these events, after a few months, you get back into the stream of things, you forget the lessons, and all of a sudden you're back to your old ways and your old programming. What's different about SLS or successful? Excuse me, I want to call it correctly because it grew from SLS Successful Living Summit to now the World Cup. So what's different?
Well, there's a few things that are different. One is a lot of courses or seminars or retreats that you might do are informational. So they impart information and concepts, and you kind of have to remember them to be able to use them. Okay. And information isn't bad, it's a particular kind of education. The kind of education that's done at the World Cup is transformational, not informational.
Mm,
So with transformation, you don't need to understand or learn. It's more of a shift in your ways of being and acting that's immediate. So it's not over time learning and understanding and implementing and applying. It is you see a blind spot, something that you didn't see before, and all of a sudden you can't unsee it.
yeah,
So you see everything
differently.
through that new lens.
Right.
And that gives you access immediately to new ways of being and new actions that produce breakthrough results.
How many people usually attend the events when you're there?
It's between like 200 and 500 people, depending on the location and the
Wow.
venue.
Right.
But it's hundreds of people.
So you've seen how many people over the years, your 30 years spanning of
Oh
doing
my!
this
Oh well, in the
for you?
transformational world, I've only
Yeah.
been involved with the World Cup for a few years,
Right.
but I've been leading transformative work for over like
30
35 years.
years.
So I've personally worked with a couple of 100,000 people just personally, like one on one or one to 100. But I mean, millions have watched my videos and different things on YouTube and things like that. So who knows? It's hard to track.
Well, after all these years of doing what you're doing, what are some of the limiting beliefs that we all walk around with without knowing how to work through those or crack the whip on ourselves here?
Yeah, well, people relate to their beliefs not like beliefs. They relate to them like the truth.
Mm.
It's like you don't go, oh, I believe that I'm not good enough. You really are that you're not good enough. Or, like a limiting belief I had when I was little was you can't do your art as your career. And that guided my actions. So I wasn't going to go pursue be a singer because you can't do your art as your career. So I pursued being a business person. And when you see a belief as a belief instead of the truth, all of a sudden it becomes malleable and not so rigid and fixed like a wall.
Yeah.
It's now kind of like a screen that you can walk through, and it enables you to fulfill on dreams that you've had and kind of gave up on because you thought they weren't available to you.
I love it, man. I'm getting the chills now because it reminded me of what the things that I learned, the things that I went through, some of the processes, and the shedding of who you thought you were, and the unveiling of who you're going to be for yourself, for your family, to the world, how you walk, how you talk, how you can consider other people, how do you consider your own feelings. And that's something I didn't possess before I walked into those doors. You know, it really tore the doors down, and it allowed me to fly and be myself, live with a purpose, you know what I mean? Make every day, every breath, every second count, and be accountable as well for your actions as well.
Accountability is missing on the planet with lots of people. So the minute you put that in, you elevate your performance exponentially. Just that one thing. Just designing for accountability, you have higher performance immediately.
So, like I said, and for those who have followed my journey through a Successful Living Summit and now the World Cup, been to several different countries, and I'm able to see some of these countries and experience the food, experience the lifestyle. When you go to these countries, you know, as people that are attending, are we going to be able to go out and see some stuff and get some Colombian food and so on and so forth?
That's one of the best things about these retreats, because you end up in these great locations, and oh my God, Mexico City had the best food. I couldn't even believe how good that food was. But I hear Colombia, the coffee, which I am addicted to coffee. So I cannot wait to do a coffee tasting everywhere I go there.
So the event is coming up, and you're all invited to come on out. It's going to be the World Cup of Colombia in Colombia, July 17th through the 19th, right here, 2025. I will be there. I'm the opening DJ. Josselyne is one of the keynote speakers. Yeah. For the coaches and or trainers, what would be the biggest gap between good and an average coach and an extraordinary coach?
Well, a lot of people call themselves coaches now, and they can do a weekend thing and get certified as a coach. That's not really what coaching is. Coaching happens through anything that you were going to master. It takes 10,000 hours to master anything. And when you are a master coach, which I am, I've spent way more than 10,000 hours coaching people, you realize there's more to learn. So I think the best coaches have coaches. You know, it's not like I already know everything, so now I'm going to coach you.
Uncoachable.
No, that's advice.
Yeah.
That's not coaching.
Okay.
Coaching is like, you know, constantly discovering and realizing it's a mountain with no top, and being thirsty and coachable.
So you have a coach?
I have 3 coaches.
Really? For different things, or do you ask them all the same questions sometimes to see if they get a different answer?
They're in different genres of life. Like I have a business coach, I have a money coach, I have a well-being coach, and then I have actually a 4th coach, which is more like, you know, sort of a transformational coach. When I want to bat things around and kind of develop a new course, I'll go to her. But it's interesting, because if you're really committed to high performance, it's like an Olympic athlete. Of course you're going to have a coach. Like, it doesn't mean that you're a low performer. If anything, it means you're a high performer, and you want somebody to be able to see your blind spots, because you can't see what you can't see. And transformation is about blind spots and uncovering those blind spots. And every time you eliminate a blind spot, you eliminate a constraint in your life.
That's amazing. I like the way you put that. So let me ask you a question. Since you've been in this for so many years, do you have any friends or family that refuse to see those blind spots and won't go to something like the Successful Living Summit?
I mean, I don't think of people in terms of they refuse or they don't refuse or anything like that. I mean, nobody sees their blind spots till they do. And you can't make somebody see a blind spot. That's why coaching is very different than advice, because, you know, your friends might ask you for advice all the time, but that's you telling them your opinion. That's very different than asking the kind of questions that has someone look in the direction of their blind spot and discover it for themselves. If you don't discover your blind spots for yourself, and that really does take being in a relationship where you're coachable, which is very different than talking to your friends and getting advice. You know, nobody's accountable with advice. You know, there's nobody on the hook for anything. When you're a coach, if you're Pat Riley, you're accountable for winning that game. You're not on the court. The players are on the court. So my clients are on the court of their life, but I'm responsible for their performance. And if they're not performing, it's my job to ask them the kind of questions that has them be able to see what they need to see so they can be who they're committed to being.
So if you all want to join us, we're going to be in Colombia. Come on out. Be there with us July 17th through the 19th, 2025, the World Cup Colombia. I'm excited to be there again. I've never been to Colombia. This is going to be my first.
Me neither.
What do you want people to take away from this experience when they leave?
From the experience of the World Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really how great they are and how capable they are, and, you know, their purpose in life, so that they can live their purpose, not chase some dream, but actually live it. And, you know, the tools that you need to do that are all there. It is like one-stop shopping for the tools for high performance and living your dreams. So that's why I go every year.
Would you recommend bringing a loved one or a daughter or a cousin or somebody you work with? Like,
I would bring your whole team. If you have a team of people at work, which many people do, I would bring them, because then you're speaking the same language. It's like if you're the only one speaking French and everyone around you is speaking English, you got to speak English to talk to them. But if you're speaking French and you get other people speaking French, like speaking transformation, then you've got an environment that will breed transformation. Same thing with your family. My whole family has participated in transformative work, and, you know, the people that I work with, and it's just, but it's not like, oh, if you don't, then I'm not going to work with you. But it makes it very, it's like a trim tab, you know, it's a leverage to be able to speak the same lingo.
yeah, I get it. So something I just thought of popped in my head, because I've been through several of these before, and I've seen family. I've seen like a mom or a father, a grandfather, or something like that, like multi-generationals. I see a child, and then I'll see a grandparent, and they're together. And it's got to be hard to crack into some of those older folks, like to, you know, start living differently now. Have you ever ran into something like that? Like,
I don't think that's the truth at all, because a transformation happens in an instant, and it has nothing to do with your race, your age, your gender, anything. It's a human phenomenon. So when you see a blind spot, no matter how old you are, it permanently shifts your way of being. Because if you've lived your whole life thinking you have to have the answers, you know, like my father's 91 years old. And, you know, when he was growing up, he was taught you have to have the answers as a father. And in a transformative program that he did, he realized he doesn't have to have the answers. Like, he literally saw that that was a lie that he's been living inside of, like it was the truth. Wow. And from that moment on, I became his coach. He became somebody who was open to my contribution, to my sister's contribution, to my husband's contribution, to my children's contribution, because he no longer has to know it all. And when you are in a belief that you think is the truth, it serves as a limit or a lid. So the minute that limit gets taken off, it doesn't matter how old you are, you're free.
Well, before we let you go, I want to ask you, for our viewers out there right now who are sitting at home, give me a takeaway for them that they could use in their daily life today, right now, for free. Gratis.
Sure, of course. Well, one thing is, you know, the work that I do is all about developing people's ability to be unmessable with, no matter what life throws at them. So the first thing I always ask people is, what's your vision? Because a lot of people aren't connected to their vision. And I don't mean like a goal, because a goal is specific, it's measurable, it happens in time. A vision is more of a contextual conversation, like an experience of life. So if you double your income, then what would be available? Maybe it's peace of mind, maybe it's freedom. That's more in the realm of vision. So when you are connected to your vision, then you can avoid burnout and overwhelm, which most people deal with. So the first thing is, what's your vision? And then you have to be able to notice and be aware when you're being messable with, when you're going away from your vision and in the world of concerns and worries and reactions. And if you can begin to identify which world you're in, are you in the world of vision or are you in the world of reaction, you can hack it and shift back over to the world of vision by represencing, re-articulating, sharing your vision. So the more you can get connected to what you really want, it isn't the $1 million and it isn't the, 5 houses. It's what's the experience that all of that you think would allow for, because you don't have to wait till you have the $1 million to create the experience of freedom. You can create it right now in this conversation, at Starbucks, more coffee, or anywhere in your life. And that's the opportunity to live your dream, not chase it.
Josselyne Herman-Saccio, thank you for joining us this morning. Today, you guys can all join us. These are the type of tools that are available for you today, your family members, your co-workers, anybody. I support it. I will be there, and I can't wait to see you at the coffee house in Colombia.
That's right. I'll see you there.
All right, everybody else out there, go ahead and head over to the website and get your tickets right now. Sign up now, slsworldcup.com. We'll see you in Colombia.